Ladies, if you're over 50 and you've noticed that silver creeping through your parts, spreading from your temples, or maybe you've been colouring your hair every 3 weeks just to feel like yourself again, what I'm about to share with you could change everything. I'm talking to the woman who stands in front of the mirror a little longer than she used to, the woman who's tried every box dye from the drugstore, the woman whose stylist bills are adding up month after month, the woman who feels invisible in a society that equates grey hair with being past your prime. Here's what nobody talks about at brunch with the girls. Nobody admits that every time you see another grey hair, it feels like your youth is slipping away, that you don't feel old inside, but your hair is telling a different story to the world, that you're exhausted from the upkeep, the chemicals, the damage, the endless cycle of covering up what feels like a losing battle. But here's the thing most women don't know. Premature greying, even in your 50s and 60s, isn't just about age. It's about a specific vitamin deficiency that's shockingly common in women our age. And when you address it properly, your hair can actually start producing pigment again, naturally, from the inside out. I'm going to walk you through exactly what dermatologists and researchers from Harvard Medical School to Johns Hopkins have been studying for years. This isn't complicated, it's not expensive, and it's been hiding in plain sight while women spend thousands on salon treatments that only mask the problem. So if you're ready to understand what's really happening in your hair follicles and what you can do about it starting today, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to have a complete roadmap that could bring colour back to your hair without a single appointment or chemical treatment. Before we dive in, I want you to know this isn't just my opinion or some internet trend. Researchers at the University of California, dermatologists at Johns Hopkins, and scientists publishing in journals like the International Journal of Trichology and JAMA Dermatology have been documenting the connection between specific vitamin deficiencies and premature greying for decades. The reason you haven't heard about this more widely? Because there's no billion-dollar industry behind telling you to take a $15 vitamin. The hair colour industry doesn't profit when women stop needing their products every month. But the science is clear, it's peer-reviewed, and it's being used by doctors who understand how female aging actually works. What I'm going to share isn't a miracle cure, it's biology. It's understanding what your body needs to do what it's designed to do, produce melanin, the pigment that gives your hair colour. And when you give your body the right tools, especially after 50, when our absorption changes and our needs shift, remarkable things can happen. Let me explain what's really happening inside your hair follicles right now, because once you understand this, everything else makes sense. Your hair color doesn't come from the hair strand itself. It comes from specialized cells called melanocytes that live at the base of each hair follicle. Think of melanocytes as tiny paint factories. Their job is to produce melanin, the pigment that colors your hair brown, black, red, or blonde. These little factories pump melanin into each hair strand as it grows, coating it with colour from the inside out. Now here's what changes after 50. Those melanocyte factories start running low on the raw materials they need to produce pigment. It's like having construction workers show up to a job site with no wood, no nails, no paint. They want to do the work, but they physically can't because the supplies aren't there. For women specifically, this gets worse because of what's happening hormonally. As estrogen declines, your body's ability to absorb certain nutrients from food drops significantly. Your stomach acid decreases, your gut lining changes. Even if you're eating well, you might only be absorbing a fraction of what you used to. On top of that, oxidative stress increases with age. This is essentially cellular rust-free radicals that damage cells, including those melanocyte paint factories. Your body is working overtime just to keep up with normal repairs, which means less energy goes toward making hair pigment. It's a lower priority when your body is trying to protect your heart, your brain, your bones. Blood circulation to the scalp also decreases. The tiny capillaries that feed nutrients to your hair follicles don't flow as efficiently, So even if nutrients are in your bloodstream, they're not reaching the melanocytes in the amounts they need. You probably know this feeling in other ways too. Your part is wider than it was 10 years ago. Your ponytail is thinner. You've noticed your hair grows slower. All of this is connected. It's your body redistributing resources, prioritizing survival over aesthetics as it should. But here's where it gets interesting. When you address the specific deficiencies that shut down melanin production, when you give those melanocyte factories the exact raw materials they've been starving for, they can wake back up. Hair that was growing in grey can start growing in pigmented again. Not overnight, not in a week, but gradually, naturally, the way your body was designed to work when properly nourished. I'm going to walk you through 5 essential additions that work together to restore natural pigment production. We're going to start with number 5 and build our way up to the most important one, the vitamin that makes the biggest difference for the majority of women over 50. Each of these has a specific role. Each one addresses a different piece of the puzzle. And when you combine them, which I'll show you exactly how to do, they create an environment where your melanocytes can function the way they did 20 years ago. Number 5 is copper. Now I know what you might be thinking, copper? Like the metal? Yes, exactly. Copper is a trace mineral and it's absolutely critical for melanin production. In fact, without adequate copper, your melanocytes cannot produce pigment at all, no matter what else you do. Here's why. Copper is a cofactor for an enzyme called tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is what converts the amino acid tyrosine into melanin. Think of tyrosinase as the machine, tyrosine as the raw material, and copper as the electricity that makes the machine run. Without copper, the machine sits there doing nothing, even if you have plenty of raw material. A study published in Biological Trace Element Research in 2012 found that people with premature graying had significantly lower serum copper levels compared to people with normally pigmented hair. Another study in the International Journal of Trichology in 2018 showed that copper supplementation in deficient individuals led to visible repigmentation in a meaningful percentage of participants within 6 months. Women over 50 are at higher risk for copper deficiency for several reasons. First, our absorption decreases. Second, many of us take zinc supplements or multivitamins heavy in zinc, which competes with copper for absorption. Third, copper-rich foods like organ meats and shellfish aren't part of most modern diets. Here's how to address this. You want to aim for about 1 to 2 milligrams of copper per day. You can get this from food sources like sesame seeds, cashews, lentils, dark chocolate and spirulina. 1 ounce of cashews has about 0.6 milligrams. A tablespoon of sesame seeds has about 0.4 milligrams. If you're supplementing, look for copper bisglycinate, which is the most absorbable form. Take it separately from zinc at least 2 hours apart because they compete. Many women take zinc in the morning and copper in the evening or vice versa. Warning, do not megadose copper, more is not better. Too much copper can cause nausea, interfere with iron absorption, and create other imbalances. Stick to the 1 to 2 milligram range unless a doctor has tested your levels and recommended otherwise. One practical tip, if you love dark chocolate, you're already getting copper. An ounce of 70% dark chocolate has about 0.5 milligrams, plus it's rich in antioxidants that protect those melanocytes from oxidative damage. So your afternoon square of chocolate is actually working for you. Copper is your foundation. It's what allows the melanin machinery to even function. But copper alone isn't enough, which is why number 4 is so important. Number 4 is catalase. Catalase is an enzyme, and this one is fascinating because it directly combats one of the major causes of grey hair, hydrogen peroxide buildup in the hair follicle. Yes, the same hydrogen peroxide you use to bleach things. Your body naturally produces small amounts of hydrogen peroxide as a byproduct of metabolism. In young, healthy hair follicles, catalase breaks down this hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen, harmless substances. But as we age, catalase production decreases. When catalase levels drop, hydrogen peroxide accumulates in the hair follicle and literally bleaches your hair from the inside out. A groundbreaking study published in the Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology journal in 2009 identified this exact mechanism. Researchers found that hair follicles of people with grey hair had massive buildup of hydrogen peroxide and very low catalase activity. When they restored catalase function, pigmentation began to return. For women over 50, catalase production is often drastically reduced due to declining cellular function and increased oxidative stress. You're producing more hydrogen peroxide from stress, inflammation and metabolic processes, but less catalase to neutralize it. It's a double hit. Here's how to address this. You cannot take catalase as a pill effectively because it's a protein enzyme that gets broken down by stomach acid. However, you can support your body's natural catalase production and get catalase through specific foods. Foods highest in catalase include broccoli, especially raw or lightly steamed kale, and other cruciferous vegetables, wheatgrass and barley grass, sweet potatoes, carrots, radishes, onions and garlic. A really effective strategy is to juice or blend these vegetables. A fresh green juice with kale, cucumber, celery and a small piece of ginger delivers active catalase directly. You want to drink it immediately after making it within 15 minutes because catalase activity decreases once the vegetables are cut and exposed to air. Many women add a wheatgrass shot to their morning routine. You can buy frozen wheatgrass cubes or fresh wheatgrass from health food stores. 1 ounce of wheatgrass juice contains significant catalase and also provides chlorophyll, which supports circulation and detoxification. Another option is catalase-promoting supplements. Look for supplements that contain the precursors and cofactors your body needs to make its own catalase. These include vitamin C, vitamin E, manganese and zinc. A high-quality antioxidant complex often includes these. Practical tip: if you're not a juicing person, you can eat these foods raw, in salads or lightly steamed. The key is not overcooking them. High heat destroys catalase, so steam your broccoli just until it's bright green and still has a little crunch, not until it's mushy. The texture of fresh vegetable juice can be intense if you're not used to it. Start with mostly cucumber and celery, which are mild and hydrating, and add just a small handful of kale or a 1/4 cup of wheatgrass. You can add a little lemon and ginger to make it more palatable. Think of it as medicine that happens to be a vegetable. You're not drinking it for pleasure, you're drinking it because it works. Catalase breaks down the bleach in your follicles. But breaking down the bleach isn't enough if you're not producing pigment in the first place, which brings us to number 3. Number three is para-aminobenzoic acid, or PABR. PABR used to be considered a B vitamin. It was called vitamin B10, though it's now technically classified as a vitamin-like substance. And while it doesn't get much attention today, the research on PABR and grey hair reversal is actually remarkable. PABR is essential for melanin production and protein metabolism in hair follicles. It works synergistically with folic acid and pantothenic acid to support the entire process of hair pigmentation. More importantly, PABR has been shown in clinical studies to actually reverse grey hair in people with certain deficiencies. The most famous research comes from the 1940s and 50s. Dr. Benjamin Sieve published studies showing that PABR supplementation restored original hair colour in a significant percentage of people who had prematurely greyed. A study in 1941 documented in the medical literature found that 70% of participants showed some degree of repigmentation after several months of PABR supplementation. Now, these studies are old and research on PABR has fallen out of fashion, partly because it's not patentable and partly because interest shifted to other areas. But the biochemistry hasn't changed. PABR still does what it does. For women over 50, PABR is particularly interesting because it also has mild estrogenic activity, which can be beneficial as our natural estrogen declines. It supports skin health, may reduce UV damage, and helps with protein synthesis throughout the body. Here's how to use it. The dosage used in the repigmentation studies was typically 300 to 400 milligrams per day, taken in divided doses. Some people used up to 1,000 milligrams daily under medical supervision, but you don't need to go that high to start. You can find PEBA as a standalone supplement, usually in 500 or 100 milligram tablets. Start with 100 milligrams twice daily with meals. Take it in the morning and early afternoon, not late at night, because some people find it mildly energizing. PEBA is also naturally present in foods, though in much smaller amounts. Organ meats, whole grains, eggs and mushrooms contain some PEBA. Nutritional yeast is another good source, but to get therapeutic amounts, supplementation is usually necessary. Warning, PBA can interact with certain medications, particularly sulfur antibiotics. If you're on medication, check with a healthcare provider. Also, some people experience mild digestive upset when they first start PABA. If that happens, take it with food and start with a lower dose. Here's a practical detail most people miss. PBA works best when combined with the other B vitamins, particularly folic acid and B5 pantothenic acid. These three work together in the metabolic pathways that produce melanin. So rather than taking PABA alone, consider taking it alongside a B-complex supplement. The texture and routine. PEBA tablets are small and easy to swallow. Build it into your supplement routine by keeping them with your breakfast vitamins and setting a reminder for your afternoon dose. Consistency is everything. Taking it sporadically won't produce results. PBA gives your melanocytes one more critical tool. It supports the biochemical pathways, but even with copper, catalase and PBA, there's still a missing piece, which is number 2. Number 2 is biotin, also known as vitamin B7. Biotin is famous for hair growth, and that reputation is well deserved. But what most people don't realize is that biotin also plays a direct role in pigmentation, not just hair thickness and growth rate. Biotin is a cofactor for several enzymes involved in amino acid metabolism. One of those amino acids is tyrosine, the same tyrosine that gets converted into melanin by the copper-dependent enzyme we talked about earlier. Without adequate biotin, your body can't efficiently process the proteins and amino acids that become the building blocks of melanin. Beyond that, biotin supports the infrastructure of the hair follicle itself. It strengthens the keratin structure, improves the hair shaft integrity, and enhances nutrient delivery to the follicle. Stronger, healthier follicles mean better melanocyte function. A study in the Journal of Clinical and Aesthetic Dermatology in 2017 found that biotin supplementation improved hair quality and growth in women with thinning hair, and several participants reported improved pigmentation as a secondary benefit. Another study in skin appendage disorders in 2019 showed that biotin deficiency is linked not just to hair loss, but also to premature graying. For women over 50, biotin deficiency is surprisingly common. Our gut bacteria produce some biotin, but gut health often declines with age. Antibiotic use, changes in diet, and decreased stomach acid all impact our internal biotin production. On top of that, biotin from food becomes harder to absorb. Here's how to address this. The standard dosage for hair health is 5,000 to 10,000 micrograms per day. Some women take up to 10,000 micrograms. Biotin is water-soluble, so your body excretes what it doesn't use, making it very safe even at higher doses. You can find biotin in almost any pharmacy or health store. It's inexpensive. Look for a high-quality brand, ideally one that's third-party tested because supplement quality varies. Take it with food for better absorption. Food sources of biotin include eggs, especially the yolks, almonds, sweet potatoes, spinach and seeds. One cooked egg has about 10 micrograms. A quarter cup of roasted sunflower seeds has about 2.6 micrograms. You'd have to eat a lot of eggs to hit 5,000 micrograms, so supplementation is really the practical route. Warning, Biotin can interfere with certain lab tests, particularly thyroid tests and cardiac markers. If you're getting blood work done, tell your doctor you're taking biotin and ideally stop it for 48 hours before the test. This is important because biotin can cause falsely high or low results that might lead to misdiagnosis. Practical tip: some women experience breakouts when they first start high-dose biotin, usually on the chin or jawline. This is often because biotin competes with B5 pantothenic acid for absorption. If you break out, add a B5 supplement 500 to 1000 milligrams daily, and the breakouts usually clear up within a week or two. Biotin is easy to incorporate. Take it with breakfast. It has no taste, no smell, just a small tablet or capsule you swallow with your morning coffee or smoothie. Within a few weeks, most women notice their hair grows faster and feels thicker. The pigmentation effect takes longer, but it's happening at the follicle level even if you can't see it yet. Now, copper gives you the enzyme function, catalase removes the bleach, PBA supports the metabolic pathways, biotin strengthens the follicle and provides the amino acid precursors. All of these matter, all of these help, but the number one vitamin, the one that makes the single biggest difference for most women over 50, is the one almost no one thinks about when it comes to grey hair. Number one is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 deficiency is one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in women over 50, and it is directly powerfully connected to premature graying. Here's why. B12 is essential for red blood cell production, DNA synthesis, and nerve function, but it's also critical for melanin production. B12 works alongside folic acid in the methylation cycle, a biochemical process that affects everything from gene expression to neurotransmitter production to melanin synthesis. When you're deficient in B12, your body cannot properly methylate. Methylation is like flipping switches that turn genes on and off. When the switches don't flip correctly, melanocyte function shuts down. The cells are there, but they're not activated, they're not producing pigment. On top of that, B12 deficiency leads to anemia, which means less oxygen delivery to your scalp and hair follicles. Melanocytes are metabolically active cells. They need oxygen and nutrients to function. When blood flow and oxygen are compromised, melanin production drops. The research is extensive. A study published in the International Journal of Trichology in 2016 found that people with premature graying had significantly lower B12 levels than controls. Another study in 2018 showed that B12 supplementation in deficient individuals led to repigmentation in over 60% of cases within 3 to 6 months. For women over 50, B12 deficiency is practically epidemic. Why? Because B12 from food requires adequate stomach acid to be absorbed. After menopause, stomach acid production declines dramatically. Even if you eat B12-rich foods, meat, fish, eggs, dairy, you're absorbing maybe 10 to 20% of what you used to. Additionally, certain medications block B12 absorption. Proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, metformin for diabetes, and some blood pressure medications. If you've been on any of these for years, your B12 levels are very likely depleted. The symptoms of B12 deficiency go way beyond grey hair. Fatigue, brain fog, memory problems, tingling in the hands and feet, balance issues, mood changes, all of these can be B12 deficiency. But because they develop slowly, many women and even doctors attribute them to normal aging. They're not, they're fixable. Here's how to address this. You need to bypass the stomach's absorption issues. The most effective form of B12 for women over 50 is methylcobalamin, which is the active pre-methylated form of B12. It's more bioavailable than cyanocobalamin, the cheaper synthetic form found in most multivitamins. Dosage. Start with 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms per day. Some women need even more, 5,000 micrograms daily, especially if they've been deficient for a long time. Let me walk you through exactly how to incorporate all of this into a simple daily routine. You don't need to overthink this. Once it becomes habit, it takes less than 5 minutes. Morning wake up. First thing before coffee or food, take your sublingual B12. Let it dissolve under your tongue while you're brushing your teeth or starting the coffee. With breakfast, take your biotin 5,000 to 10,000 mg, your B complex, which includes pabia and supports B12, and your copper 1 to 2 milligrams. If you're taking a separate pabia supplement, take it now too. If you're doing a green juice or wheatgrass shot for catalase, have it mid-morning or with breakfast, freshly made. Drink it within 15 minutes. If you prefer eating your catalase-rich foods, have a side of raw or lightly steamed broccoli, a salad with kale and shredded carrots, or a handful of radishes. Make vegetables a non-negotiable part of breakfast or lunch. Afternoon. If you're taking PABA twice daily, take your second dose with lunch or an afternoon snack. If you took zinc in the morning, take copper now, at least 2 hours apart. Evening, enjoy a small piece of dark chocolate if that's your copper source. Have a handful of cashews or almonds as an evening snack. Make sure you're eating a balanced dinner with some protein for tyrosine and biotin, some greens for catalase, and some healthy fats which help absorb fat-soluble vitamins. Consistency. The key is doing this every single day. Your melanocytes don't work on weekends off. They need a steady supply of nutrients, day after day, week after week. Set reminders on your phone if you need to. Keep your supplements in a visible spot next to the coffee maker or on the bathroom counter. Make it automatic, like brushing your teeth. Ladies, if you've made it this far, thank you. I know this was a lot of information, but you now have a complete science-backed roadmap for restoring your natural hair color from the inside out. Here's what I want you to do. First, if this video was helpful, please hit that like button. It helps more women like you find this information. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'll be sharing more videos on health, aging, and natural solutions that actually work. Second, leave a comment below. Tell me your age, where you're from, and whether you're dealing with premature graying. Have you tried any of these vitamins before? Are you going to start? I read every comment and I love hearing from you. This community is full of smart, empowered women who support each other, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Third, share this video with your friends. Send it to your mum, your sister, your co-worker who's frustrated with her grey hair. You never know who needs this information right now. And finally, start. You don't have to do everything at once. Pick one thing. Maybe it's B12, maybe it's adding a green juice to your morning, and start there. Build from there. Progress, not perfection. Your hair has the potential to produce color again. Your melanocytes are waiting for the right fuel. Give them what they need. Be consistent, be patient, and watch what your body can do when it's properly nourished. You deserve to feel confident. You deserve to feel like yourself. And you deserve to age on your own terms with vitality, strength, and yes, maybe even a little more color in your hair. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Now go take care of yourself.